Our schools are essential, and our children matter. Today we're voting on a bill that does exactly what this constitutional body is instructed to do. Representative Torbett mentioned it, but I'll actually read it. Article 1, Section 15 of the North Carolina State Constitution states, the people have the right to the privilege of an education, and it is the duty of the state to guard and maintain that right. This is exactly what that bill does. It puts a plan in place to reopen our schools in a safe and secure manner. And last week, we made sure that school systems could do that by appropriating an additional $1.6 billion in that effort. Like you, I've received the emails, the phone calls. I've had conversations with constituents. I've talked with local school board members throughout my district and throughout the state. I've listened to teachers that are in the classroom that are actually fearful for speaking up because they'll get attacked by political activists. I've seen the billboards going on in Mecklenburg County and throughout the state. I've seen the social media posts. And they're all saying, please do what you can to open our schools and help our children. You know, when I leave this building, first thing I do is take this tie off and I go home. And when I go home, I lose the title representative and I become dad. Actually, to be honest with you, I try to get them to call me Mr. Leader and the Honorable. That actually went very poorly at my house. But when I go home, I watch my daughter who started kindergarten this year. And she is excited. And when I get home, I watch her struggle learning how to read online. And she's trying hard, but she is struggling to learn how to read online along with her classmates. And she asked me, she says, Daddy, when am I going to be able to go to school more than 2 days a week? And my answer is, hopefully, baby, soon. Hopefully soon. See, she wants to learn. She wants to see her friends, and she truly loves her teacher. Like you, I've listened to the experts. And from the onset of this pandemic, I've heard over and over again, science and data, science and data. Even Governor Cooper has said we are using science and data to make informed decisions on how to move forward in the reopening process, whether schools or businesses or overall. We've heard it over and over again. Well, the science and data is very clear. Schools are safe to reopen. To take it even further, President Biden, Governor Cooper, Secretary Cohen, the CDC, university studies from all over the country all say it's safe for our students to return to the classroom. Secretary Cohen even took it a step further last week in the Health Committee meeting by stating, the head of the CDC just announced yesterday to reinforce vaccines are not a prerequisite for getting back into the classroom, and the data in North Carolina reinforces that. Governor Cooper said in a Facebook post a few weeks ago, research continues to show in-person learning can happen safely if schools follow safety measures. Today, Governor Cooper is calling on K-12 school districts to allow in-person learning for all students. You know, we talked a little bit about today and throughout the committee process about the what-ifs. And the what-ifs are key because this is where we have the debate. So I'm asking you, what if 41% of all public school students in North Carolina do not have an option for in-person learning? Of those 20 school districts I mentioned that are still in Plan C, they represent 41% of the student population in our public schools do not have an option for in-person learning. What if mental health issues among our student population is drastically increasing during this pandemic? We touched on that today as well. What if over 50,000 students have walked away this year alone from our public school system? 50,000 students and growing. What if over 10,000 students in our public school system are unaccounted for and our school districts have no clue where they're at? What if in places like Wilson County, right next door to me, reported nearly half of their 3rd to 12th grade students have failed at least one class while taking virtual learning this last year? What if some of our elementary students in low-income households are balancing their virtual schoolwork while looking after their younger siblings because their parents have to work and they can't afford childcare? What if a large portion of our EC students, some of our most prized students throughout the state, aren't getting the services that they deserve and are entitled to over the last year? And what if struggling working parents are at their wits' end trying to do everything they can to make sure their children actually get a solid education? These are not what ifs. That's what's happening in our state right now. But there is a what if. What if we fix that today? I read an opinion piece in the News and Observer. Some of you are actually in the press to actually read. But I read the opinion piece in the News and Observer, and it was titled, "Private School Students Flourish as Public School Students Fall Behind." And the writer talks about the challenges of her own children because she's a private school teacher, and she's actually watching her own children in public school fall further and further behind during the pandemic. She ends the article by saying, and I quote, "What's happening in education in our state is not fair. While students in private schools and pods are progressing and thriving, our children in public schools are getting the bare minimum. How much longer will we let our children endure this injustice? When is enough enough?" Our schools are essential, and our students matter.